Assalamu alaikum. This is Shahrukh Mujumdar welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Government to take stance against money laundering, says Prime Minister Tariq Rahman. Education Minister calls on students to build country's future as national budget prioritizes education sector. Chattogram court sentences prime accused Abir Ali to death in sensational murder case of child Ayat. G7 leaders pledged to diversify energy supply routes to reduce Strait of Hormuz reliance. Viewers, those were the top stories. Now moving on to the details. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman has announced his government's firm stance against the siphoning of money abroad, stressing that public money belongs to the people and should be used to improve their lives and change their fortunes. He said this while addressing a program marking the inauguration of the third phase family card distribution program at the Victoria High School ground in Srimangal of Maulvi district today. The Prime Minister personally handed over family cards to 10 women representing beneficiary families before formally inaugurating the third phase of the program by pressing a button. He also distributed checks of financial assistance as housing support for tea workers, scholarships for children of tea workers and people with disabilities. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman said family cards will be distributed to all female tea workers within the next year. He said that improving the fate of the people of the country is the main goal of BNP. The Prime Minister urged people to remain alert to what he termed efforts to create confusion and instability, both inside and outside Shongbad. He said no one can destroy Bangladesh's democracy if the people remain united.
আগামী বছর 40 লক্ষ কৃষক ভাইয়ের হাতে আমরা কৃষক কার্ড তুলে দেব। ঠিক একইভাবে আগামী এক বছরে 40 লক্ষ পরিবারের কাছে যেমন ফ্যামিলি কার্ড তুলে দেব, 40 লক্ষ কৃষকের কাছে আমরা কৃষক কার্ড তুলে দেব। মায়েদের হাতে ফ্যামিলি কার্ড তুলে দিচ্ছি ধীরে ধীরে, যেভাবে আমরা কৃষক ভাইদের কাছে কৃষক কার্ড তুলে দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করছি ধীরে ধীরে, আমরা একইভাবে আপনারা আজকে আপনাদের স্বচক্ষে দেখলেন যে আমরা যারা মেধাবী স্টুডেন্ট, যারা কিন্তু অর্থনৈতিক কারণে ঠিকভাবে বই কিনতে পারে না, পড়ালেখা করতে পারে না, এরকম চাল শ্রমিক পরিবারের যারা সন্তান তাদের হাতেও আমরা তুলে দিয়েছি অর্থ সরকারের পক্ষ থেকে। অর্থাৎ আমরা মানুষের পাশে দাঁড়াতে চাই, মানুষকে সহযোগিতা করতে চাই। প্রিয় ভাই বোনেরা, এটাই হচ্ছে বিএনপির রাজনীতি। আমরা দেশকে এগিয়ে নিতে চাই, দেশের ভাগ্য পরিবর্তন করতে চাই, মানুষকে মানুষের ভাগ্যের পরিবর্তন করতে চাই।
Social Welfare Minister Professor Dr. Azatem Jahid Hussain chaired the event, while State Minister Farzana Sharmin, Maulvi District BNP Convener Faisal Karim Moin, Maulvi 4 Constituency MP Mujibur Rahman Chaudhary, Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Social Welfare Kamaluddin Bishash, and beneficiaries Shiuli Rani Dash and Wazada Begum also spoke the function. Later, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman handed over family cards to the recipients at the Maulvi Government High School premises. At the same time, the Prime Minister inaugurated the family card distribution program in 19 districts of the country. At the event, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman said that the BNP government is for everyone who voted in the February 12th election, as well as those who did not vote. The government has announced an increase of 5,000 taka in the monthly allowance for the families of Gallantry Award-winning freedom fighters in the proposed budget for the next fiscal year. Under the revised structure, families of Bir Shreshto will receive 40,000 taka per month, while the families of Bir Uttom will get 30,000 taka, and families of Bir Bikram and Bir Pratik will receive 25,000 taka each per month. On the other hand, monthly honorarium for general freedom fighters will remain unchanged at 20,000 taka. Freedom fighters and members of civil society welcomed the announcement. They said such initiative is not only shows the state's respect for the heroes of the Liberation War, but also inspires the new generation to develop patriotism and stand against injustice. Welcoming the government's decision, Bir Protik Lieutenant Colonel Mudassir Hussain said that it is the state's responsibility to ensure the welfare of freedom fighters. The proposed budget for next fiscal year includes measures aimed at reducing the prices of essential commodities, particularly rice and lentils, as well as raising the tax-free income threshold. To help bringing the prices of 60 essential products, including rice and lentils, under control, the government has offered significant tax concessions to importers and suppliers. Source tax on essential commodities has also been reduced. Although the new budget proposal includes a reduction in source tax on essential goods, its benefits have not yet fully reached the retail market. A visit to local markets shows that despite it being the peak rice harvest season, rice prices have increased by 5 to 10 taka per kilogram since Eid al-Adha. Concerned observers say that the rise in rice prices during the harvest season, instead of the expected decline, will place additional pressure on ordinary consumers. They have urged the government not only to implement the measures announced in the new budget to control the prices of essential commodities, but also to strengthen market oversight. Meanwhile, market observations indicate that the prices of edible oil and lentils have remained stable. Edible oil is being sold at the government fixed price. There is widespread hope that the government's announcements to reduce the prices of essential goods, including rice and lentils, and to increase the tax-free income threshold will soon lead to lower prices in the market. Education Minister A&M Ehsanul Haq Milan said the highest allocation in the first budget of the current government has been given for the education sector. He said efforts have been taken to ensure that there is no weakness in the education system during the tenure of this government. Ehsanul Haq Milan made this remark today while speaking at the Dean's Award ceremony at Jagannath University. Jagannath University Vice-Chancellor Professor Dr. Roisuddin presided over the function, while Education Secretary Muhammad Abdul Khalik, Dhaka 7 lawmaker Hamidur Rahman Hamid, and Jagannath University Teachers Association President Professor Dr. Munzur Murshid Bhuiya spoke among others. Ehsanul Haq Milan said the education system was at its best during the tenure of former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia, and the current government is also trying to maintain that continuity. He also urged parents not to focus only on GPA 5 results. Instead, they should assess how much creativity and skill their children have developed. Family cards have been distributed among the beneficiaries in Ward number 3 of Guman Mordon Union in Hatajari, Upojila of Chattogram as part of a high-priority government welfare program. State Minister for Land and Chittagong Hill Tracts Affairs Barrister Mir Muhammad Halaluddin was present as a chief guest, organized by the Upojila administration at the local Guman Mordon Union Porishad office premises today. Highlighting the core objective of Prime Minister Tariq Rahman, the State Minister emphasized that sustainable national progress relies fundamentally on uplifting the country's most disadvantaged and marginalized people. He said that the Prime Minister believes that infrastructural developments like roads and buildings are incomplete without a parallel improvement in the daily living standards and economic freedom of rural citizens. Deputy Commissioner Muhammad Jahidul Islam Mia presided over, among others, Divisional Commissioner Dr. Muhammad Ziauddin, Superintendent of Police Muhammad Masood Alam, Divisional Director of the Department of Social Services Muhammad Omar Farooq also spoke on the occasion. Local BNP leaders and officials of the concerned government departments were present at that time. A Chattogram court has sentenced the prime suspect accused Abir Ali to death for the murder of child Elena Islam Ayad, whose body was dismembered and dumped into the sea after the killing 4 years ago. The verdict in the widely discussed case was delivered today by the 6th Additional Metropolitan Sessions Judges Court of Chattogram. On November 14, 2022, 5-year-old Elena Islam Ayat, daughter of Sohail Rana, a resident of Washmunsibari in Noyarhat, Shipur, under the EPZ police station area of the city, was murdered. The brutal killing sparked nationwide outrage and widespread public attention across the country. Now, international news. Leaders of the G7 countries have welcomed an interim deal to end the war in Iran. The leaders met for summit in the French town of Aven-les-Bains of Lake Geneva. The G7 leaders also demanded a ceasefire in Lebanon and pledged they will diversify energy supply routes to reduce dependence on the Strait of Hormuz. The leaders said they were ready to contribute to the implementation of the accord with a coalition led by Britain and France set to help secure shipping once the Strait of Hormuz reopens as expected on Friday. The summit gave U.S. President Donald Trump a chance to present his deal with Iran to major allies Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy and Japan. The Memorandum of Understanding signed by Washington and Tehran this week, though yet to be made public, extends a ceasefire announced in April by another 60 days to allow the warring countries to negotiate a permanent truce. The U.S.-Iran agreement is expected to launch negotiations towards a final settlement to end the war this Friday across the nearby Swiss border. Israeli forces has carried out airstrikes on several areas in South Lebanon on Wednesday, despite a peace deal in the Middle East war that includes Lebanon. Lebanon's national news agency NNA said Israeli warplanes launched raids targeting the Nabat al-Fua area and the eastern outskirts of neighboring town Kafir Tebnit. The Israelis also launched a drone strike on the town of Ansariya in the Zarani area, NNA reported. According to NNA, while violence has declined in Lebanon since a U.S.-Iran agreement to end the Middle East war was announced on Monday, Israeli strikes on the south have still killed at least 5 people since the deal. Meanwhile, Iran has accused Israel of violating the truce in Lebanon 84 times since the Memorandum of Understanding was agreed to between Tehran and the U.S. and warns of a harsh response if attacks continue. The warning comes after Israeli forces killed 4 people in southern Lebanon on Tuesday, and as U.S. President Donald Trump slammed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, saying he has to be more responsible in Lebanon. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said on Tuesday that an end to the conflict would be incomplete without the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the territories it occupied in this war. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Monday that his country's forces would remain in Lebanon for as long as necessary. Now, news and sports. Australia's spinners weaved a tight web around Bangladesh to guide the visitors to a 4-wicket victory in the opening match of the 3-match T20 International Series at Brisbane Shahid Flight Lieutenant Mutiur Rahman Stadium today. Australia's spin attack orchestrated a comprehensive collapse to take a 1-0 lead in the 3-match series. Middle-order batter Tawhid Hridoy stepped up as the stand-in captain for Bangladesh as regular skipper Liton Das was ruled out after sustaining a calf muscle tear during the final ODI.